Hi there. Okay, so let's just go through some of the things left to do on the hut. Most of these things I want you to do, but I'm going to show you how I've done them. The door on the frame is going to be your challenge, which is coming up towards the end of this section. So I'm not going to show you that because that is totally down to you, and it stems from when we modelled it back in the modelling section. So this is our porch, and you can see our planks here, and now that we've textured them we can copy our planks all the way along, and when we drop this material, these textures onto them, it will just appear on all of the planks. It's enough for it not to look too repetitive, so it should be fine. So you can see I've used you can see I've used a texture here, and I've just dropped it into the base color on here. Same with the normal map, because I created this in B2M. The beams underneath are quite low res, very low. I might up them a little bit actually, but it doesn't really matter because they're going to be in dark. You're never ever going to see them. So as long as there's something on them, I think it'll be fine. But we'll check that once it's finished and lit. We'll have a look at those and make sure they look okay. Next up is the handrails, and you can see I've used a branch sort of stripped of its bark type effect for this, and coupled with some sort of moss and some dirt. You can see my layers here, just lots of moss and dirt. Wood beech veined for the sort of base layer, which gives it that sort of stripped wood look. And then I've covered it with dirt and moss and sort of bits of fluffy moss here and there, different places, and it gives it that look. I think I quite like it. The other thing I would say is it doesn't have much of a texture, which might conflict with the style of the other bits of wood that I'm putting on there. But apart from that, I quite like that, and that'll work really well. When you do these, just save them out as a separate Max file and export them as an FBX, and then bring them in, and it's not difficult to do. You've seen me do all this stuff already, so it's fairly straightforward. This just gets saved, and all you need is the images, because you're not splitting up your hut. All we're doing is spitting out these materials, and when we get it into Unity, we're just going to use them to apply it to the material of the fully constructed hut. So these are quite easy to create. This, I think this took me about 10-15 minutes. Very, very easy. Next up is my steps. Same principle as the planks for the porch. I just use textures for wood and then just painted over the top. And I used the equivalent normal map spat out of B2M and just applied them all. It's very simple to do. And I went in and painted the moss in the corners and these blobs of white to make it look like it's got sort of paint or some sort of bird droppings or something like that on the wood, which makes it look very cool. Again, very simple, and you should be able to manage this very easily at this stage now. You've got into the point where you should be able to model, you can texture these things. I've shown you how to bring it in from B2M, and I've shown you how to export it out, and I've shown you how to put it into Unity. So you should be fairly efficient at this now. It's fairly basic stuff. If you're having problems with any of this stuff that I'm showing you now, just leave me some comments and I'll help you for sure. So just let me know if you're struggling and I will help you. But it should be fairly straightforward. We've got 5 layers here, very, very basic, nothing to it really. It should be very achievable for you at this point in the course. Okay, so I think that's it. The roof we talked about in a previous lecture. You should have something for that. That's just a tile texture. We're just going to drop onto the roof, drop into a material and then drop it onto the roof, and it should just work. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to just jump into Max, and I'm going to show you, just make sure we cover a couple of things that we need to do in the actual model before we stick it back into Unity. So I'll see you in Max. Okay, so this is our main hut, And now that we've textured pretty much most of it, and we're just going to apply the materials in Unity once we get it in there, we need to make sure we copy these back along here so that they're the same planks all the way along, because we've textured these, and provided we copy them back along like this, you know, the UVs will stay intact and they'll share the same texture space, and you won't really notice it. Not here on the floor. It should work really well, and it's just a technique to get to repeat your texture, to get more space, you know, to save sort of texture memory, if you like. Yeah, so just copy them along like this, all the way to the end, all the way to there. And the other thing we need to do is to replace this lot up there. So if we unclick that, let's just detach this section here. Let me see. Yeah. Okay, detach. So this is part of the roof. Is it part of the roof? Let me just check. I think we did it as part of the roof. So if we just select that, yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this one here, this strip here, and we're going to repeat it all the way along there where they are. So we're going to just select these two, and we're going to hide unselected like that, and we're going to select that end piece here, and we're going to copy it along like this. That's okay, because if you do clone to element, it will stay attached to the roof itself. So if you just keep doing that all the way along like this, the UVs you've put on here will repeat all the way across, and you can use the same texture for all of them. Should be no problem at all. Very simple to do. Again, it's just a space saving technique so that we can, let me just check I've got the right thing here. Yep, space saving technique, and speed as well, because it speeds things up so we can you know, save memory, save space. And you won't notice it under here because it's hidden. You know, you just see it on the ends really, and you won't take any notice of it when you're a player running around in the game. You won't really notice. You would notice if it wasn't textured, so make sure you texture it, and then copy once you've finished. Once you've finished using this object to texture for texturing, then just copy all them across and delete. Select those and just delete them. They're gone. And there you have it. You have your roof complete and final with all the UVs spread across all the beams, and you can just drop your material on there and it'll appear on all of them. So that's cool. And that's it for the hut. So I think what we're going to do now is we're actually going to start bringing all the objects into Unity for real. I know I've said it a few times, but we are really going to do it this time. In the next lecture, we're going to start bringing final objects into Unity and start populating our scene with textured objects. So I'll see you in the next lecture.